Dr. Markham didn't even turn his chair fully toward me. He kept one hand on the mouse like I was a pop-up window he wanted to close as quickly as possible. "I'm having chest tightness," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "My hands go numb. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night gasping for air." He exhaled. Sharp. Theatrical. Like I just wasted his valuable time with complaints he'd heard 1,000 times before. "Brenna, it's just stress. Your vitals are fine. Heart rate is normal. Blood pressure is perfect." The nurse, Lila, hovered near the door with that frozen smile that said, "Please don't make this harder than it needs to be." Dr. Markham stood and cracked the door open with 2 fingers. Already dismissing me. Already moving on to the next patient who might have something actually wrong with them. "Try magnesium supplements. Cut back on caffeine. Do some breathing exercises. There are apps for that." My throat burned. I'm not anxious. I'm scared. Something feels wrong. He gave me a look. That look. The one that said I'd just confessed to being dramatic, to wasting medical resources, to being one of those women. As I stepped into the hallway, I heard him mutter to Lila, "Another one who wants a diagnosis." I sat in my car with my palms pressed flat against the steering wheel until the shaking stopped. My vision blurred with tears I refused to let fall. "My name is Brenna Holloway. I'm 41 years old, American. The dependable one, the woman who handles things, who doesn't complain, who pushes through. I work as a quality and compliance coordinator at a regional medical device distributor. My job is literally about proof, about documentation, about making sure every claim can be verified with evidence. At home, my husband Cole hates anything he can't fix in one sentence. My mother Diane believes pain is a personality flaw, something weak people use as an excuse. My sister Kendra treats my life like a group chat topic, entertainment for her friends. I started the engine and whispered to myself, if it's just stress, why do I feel like I'm running out of time? My phone lit up on the passenger seat. Cole calling. I stared at his name on the screen and already knew he was going to say the worst possible thing. I answered, heard his sigh before I heard his voice. Not a hello, not concern, just that exhale that meant I was already wrong about something. "Let me guess," Cole said. "Dr. Markham told you it's stress. He didn't run any tests. Because you don't need them, Brenna. You spiral. Every year it's something new. Remember when you thought you had thyroid problems? Then it was nothing." I stared at the clinic doors, watched people walking out with prescriptions, with answers, with doctors who'd believed them enough to actually investigate. "I can't feel my left hand sometimes," I said quietly. Cole paused. I could hear him deciding whether to be kind or convenient. He chose convenience like he always did. "Just come home and try to be normal tonight. My mom is coming over for dinner." I looked down at my left hand on the steering wheel. The fingers were tingling again. That pins and needles feeling that had been happening for weeks. Then my vision blurred. Just for half a second, like someone had turned down the brightness on the world. At dinner that evening, Cole's mother Patrice clinked her fork against her wine glass like we were celebrating something. Like this was a toast instead of an interrogation. She smiled at me with that practiced warmth that never reached her eyes. "Cole says you're stressed lately. You should be grateful, Brenna. Some women would love to have your life." My mother Diane nodded eagerly from across the table, always ready to agree when someone else voiced criticism she'd been thinking. Brenna has always been intense, even as a child. My sister Kendra laughed, loud, performative. "Oh my God, tell them about the time she thought she had a brain tumor because she got a headache. Remember that? She was convinced she was dying." I opened my mouth, then closed it, because I could feel something fundamentally wrong in my body. Something real, something dangerous. And I was surrounded by people who wanted me to be embarrassed about it, who needed me to be wrong so their world stayed comfortable. Patrice leaned in closer. Her voice dropped to that sweet, poisonous whisper. "Don't make Cole's life harder with your episodes, dear." The next morning at work, I was in the warehouse aisle checking lot numbers on device shipments when my heart stuttered. Hard. Like someone had kicked a door inside my chest. The labels on the boxes swam in my vision. The concrete floor tilted sideways. My coworker Nolan grabbed my elbow. "Brenna, hey, you okay? Sit down." I sat on a wooden pallet like a child being sent to timeout. My hands were shaking. My chest felt tight. My supervisor Marcy appeared, her eyes scanning me like I was an inconvenience she had to categorize and file away, a problem that needed documentation. "Are you safe to be here?" Marcy asked. She was already holding her clipboard, already writing something down. I tried to speak. My voice came out wrong. Weak. Not like myself. "I just need a minute." Marcy looked past me to Nolan, made a decision without consulting me. "Call HR. This is becoming a pattern." HR Rep Tessa offered me water in a paper cup and spoke in that corporate voice that pretended to care while protecting the company. "We just want to support you, Brenna, but you understand that reliability is a core component of a compliance role." "I've never missed a deadline," I said. "That's true. Your work is excellent, but we're seeing a pattern of physical incidents. For your safety and ours, we need documentation for any medical accommodations you might require." She slid a form across the table. Medical accommodation request. Required physician signature. Required diagnosis codes. Required proof. I was being asked to prove I was sick by the same system that shrugged when I said something was wrong. I took the form without signing it, walked out to the parking lot on legs that felt disconnected from my body. I called the clinic again. The receptionist's voice was apologetic but firm. "Dr. Markham won't order additional tests without another appointment, and his next opening is 3 weeks out." 3 weeks. While my body screamed that something was wrong, I went back to the clinic anyway, walked in without an appointment, refused to leave until someone saw me. They put me in the same exam room, same paper sheet crackling under me like cheap dignity being crumpled. Dr. Markham walked in with a smile that felt like a warning, a threat wrapped in professional courtesy. "What are we hoping to find today, Brenna?" I kept my voice flat, calm. "I want labs drawn, an EKG, an ultrasound, anything. I'm not leaving without starting somewhere real." He tapped his pen against his clipboard, that dismissive little gesture. "Anxiety can mimic a lot of serious conditions. Racing heart, numbness, chest pain. It's very common in women your age." "I know what anxiety feels like," I interrupted. "This is not it." He hesitated, just for a second. That was the first crack in his certainty. "Fine," he said finally. "We'll do basic labs, to reassure you." Like reassurance was the only goal. Like making me feel better was more important than actually finding out what was wrong. They drew my blood quickly, efficiently. Like they were trying to get me out before I asked for respect, before I demanded to be treated like a person instead of a problem. In the lobby, I watched a mother soothe a crying toddler. Watched an older man hold his wife's purse while she checked in. I wondered what it felt like to be believed without having to audition for it. My phone buzzed. Text from my mother. "Don't scare everyone with medical drama, you know how you get." Another text. This one from Cole. "Marcy called me, what did you do?" Not "are you okay?" Not "what happened?" Just accusation, just blame. My chest tightened, not from fear this time, from rage. That night, I woke up gasping. Actually gasping, like I'd been drowning, like my lungs had forgotten how to work. Cole didn't even turn over in bed. Just kept sleeping, like my struggle for breath was white noise he'd learned to ignore. I went to urgent care the next day. Different building, different fluorescent lighting, same hope that maybe someone would finally listen. The physician assistant's name was Renee Caldwell. She actually listened. Asked questions like the answers mattered to her. Like I mattered. When I mentioned the numbness in my hands, Renee's face changed. Got serious. "Any family history of heart problems? Autoimmune conditions?" "My father died at 52, I said. "Heart failure. Sudden." Renee nodded slowly, wrote something down. "We're not calling this stress yet, not with your symptoms and family history." Those words felt like oxygen, like permission to trust my own body. "I'm ordering imaging," Renee said. "Cardiac workup, to be safe." To be safe. Those 3 words felt like a miracle, like someone finally cared if I lived or died. The phone rang 2 days later while I was at work. Mid-audit, staring at a non-conformance report about improper sterilization documentation. "This is Renee Caldwell from Urgent Care." Her voice was too calm, too carefully controlled. "Brenna, I need you to go to the emergency room. Today. As soon as possible." My mouth went dry. "Is it bad?" "I'm not going to scare you unnecessarily, but I'm also not going to minimize what we're seeing on your imaging. You need immediate evaluation." I gripped my desk so hard my knuckles ached. "What did you find?" I'd rather have the ER cardiologist explain. But Brenna, don't drive yourself, have someone take you. When I looked up, Marcy was standing in my doorway, watching my face change, watching me become a liability. In the emergency room, a doctor I'd never met looked at my chart and said simply, "We're admitting you." Just like that. No debate, no dismissal, no pamphlet about breathing exercises. Cole arrived an hour later. Late, irritated, smelling like the cologne he wore to important meetings. "So you're staying overnight?" he asked. Like the hospital was a hotel I'd booked for attention. I was already hooked to monitors. My heartbeat was a sound I couldn't ignore anymore, beeping proof that something was wrong. My mother called, not to ask if I was okay. That would have required caring. "Did you tell anyone about this? Your work? Your mother-in-law? People are gonna talk." I hung up on her. The admitting cardiologist stepped into my room, young, competent-looking, holding a tablet with my test results. "Brenna, your imaging explains everything. We know what's been happening." The doctor used real words, medical terminology I'd have to Google later. Words that came with consequences, with treatment plans, with proof that I wasn't crazy. Something was wrong with my heart, something structural. Something that should have been caught months ago if anyone had bothered to look. I didn't cry right away, just stared at the ceiling tiles and thought about Dr. Markham's shrug, his dismissal, his complete certainty that I was wasting his time. Cole finally went quiet. First time all week he'd stopped talking long enough to actually hear anything. He took my hand. The gesture felt performative, like he was holding a prop in a play he'd been forced to attend. "Brenna, you should have told me it was serious." I laughed, once. It came out sharp and bitter. "I did tell you. You didn't believe me. None of you did." Cole's phone buzzed on the bedside table. I saw the name on the screen before he could grab it. Marcy, my supervisor, calling my husband instead of me. Marcy spoke to Cole like he was my handler, my medical proxy, the person who made decisions about my life. "We can't have uncertainty in a compliance position." Her voice came through the phone on speaker. "We need a plan for coverage, a timeline." I was lying in a hospital bed with monitors tracking my unstable heart rhythm, and my job was being discussed like I was a defective product that needed replacing. "I'll handle it," Cole said quickly, efficiently, taking control before I could object. He looked at me like I should be grateful, like he was solving a problem I'd created. The nurse came in to adjust my IV. I watched her face, professional, neutral. She'd seen this before, watched family members take over patients' lives in the name of helping. When she left, Cole's voice got gentler, more dangerous. "I'm going to manage your communications from now on. You need to focus on getting better." Back home 3 days later, released with medications and follow-up appointments, Cole took my phone so I could rest. My mother arrived within an hour, carrying casseroles and opinions in equal measure. "You can't be alone, Brenna. You make bad decisions when you're emotional. You always have." Kendra showed up that afternoon with a 3-ring binder, smiling too wide, too helpful. "I made a folder," she chirped, "with your insurance information, your work policies, your options." Options. Like I was being reorganized, cataloged, prepared for disposal. My chest tightened, not from my heart this time, from the clarity of understanding. They were taking over my life, calling it help, calling it support. That night, I tried to check my voicemail. My clinic voicemail where test results and appointment reminders came through. It was empty. Every message deleted. I logged into my patient portal the next morning while Cole was in the shower. I saw appointments I hadn't scheduled, messages I hadn't sent. A cancellation note under my name that read, "Patient no longer needs cardiac follow-up, doing well." My hands went cold. I hadn't canceled anything, wasn't doing well. Had explicit instructions to follow up in 2 weeks. I confronted Cole when he came out. "Did you access my patient portal?" He didn't deny it fast enough. That half-second of calculation before he spoke. "You were overwhelmed. I was helping, making sure nothing fell through the cracks." My mother stepped in from the kitchen like a referee. "Cole is trying to save you from yourself, Brenna. Can't you see that?" I opened Cole's laptop later when everyone was gone. His email was still logged in. Draft message to Marcy. "Brenna is not mentally stable enough for compliance work right now. I'll keep you updated on her status." I didn't scream, didn't throw things, didn't give them the emotional reaction they expected. I started taking photos instead, screenshots, login histories, portal access timestamps, email drafts. The same way I built corrective action reports at work. Facts, sequence, impact, evidence. Kendra walked in while I was documenting and froze when she saw Cole's laptop open in front of me. She tried to laugh. "Whoa, you're being paranoid. This isn't healthy." I kept my voice calm, professional. "Then you won't mind if I request an audit log from the clinic? See who's been accessing my medical records?" Kendra's face flickered. Fear. Just for a second, before she covered it with concern. "Brenna, we're just trying to help." My phone pinged. Password change notification for my patient portal. I looked at the screen. "I didn't change my password." Kendra looked away. "Maybe it's automatic. Security thing?" But we both knew it wasn't. At the clinic the next day, I met with the records coordinator. A woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a weary expression that said she'd dealt with situations like this before. "We can provide access logs for your account," she said quietly. "We'll also note any unauthorized changes in our compliance records." I sat in the waiting room afterward. The same room where I'd sat weeks ago, dismissed and desperate. The same motivational posters about wellness and taking charge of your health. Dr. Markham walked past me, paused when he saw me, tried to smile. "Brenna, how are we feeling?" I looked up at him, met his eyes. "I'm feeling documented." His smile faltered. The records coordinator returned with a printout, sat down beside me and pointed to a line highlighted in yellow. "This shows account access from an external device, not yours. Would you like to file a formal complaint?" The printout showed the truth in black and white. Someone had accessed my portal from Cole's device, multiple times over the past week. Viewing test results, changing appointment settings, sending messages to my doctors claiming I was fine, claiming I didn't need follow-up care. I went home and placed the paper on the kitchen table like evidence in a trial. Cole came home from work and saw it, went pale. "Okay, yes, I logged in, but it was for you, Brenna, to help you. You weren't thinking clearly." My mother appeared from the living room, her voice sharp, defensive. "Brenna, don't blow up your marriage over technicalities. Cole loves you." Kendra added quickly, "You're safe now. You have a diagnosis? Treatment? Can't we just move on?" For one breath, it almost felt like this was the ending. Like the proof was enough, like they'd apologize and things would go back to normal. Then Cole said, "We need to tell Marcy you're taking a leave of absence, indefinitely. It's for the best." And I realized the portal access wasn't the goal. It was just the tool. Control was the goal. Marcy scheduled a video call to discuss my transition and support plan. Cole tried to sit beside me at the laptop, like I was his project to present, his responsibility to manage. I moved the screen so only my face showed. I'd prepared documentation, a plan for temporary accommodations based on my doctor's actual recommendations, a timeline, clean, compliant, reasonable. Everything an HR department should want. "I can continue working with modified duties while I'm in treatment," I said. "I have medical documentation supporting this." Marcy pursed her lips. "We'll certainly consider all options." I thought maybe this would work. Maybe I could keep my job and my autonomy. Then Marcy's face changed. "Brenna, I should mention that Cole sent me an email, some concerns about cognitive issues you've been having." My stomach dropped. Marcy shared her screen. Cole's email was there, with attachments, claiming I'd been confused, forgetful, unstable. All lies. All designed to make me seem incompetent. That night, my mother called a family meeting at her house, like she was a judge and this was a court. Cole's mother, Patrice, was already there when I arrived, sitting at the dining table with her hands folded, looking somber, concerned. My mother gestured to a chair. "We're all worried about you making decisions while you're unwell." Cole slid papers toward me across the table. Official-looking documents with legal letterhead, power of attorney forms, medical decision-making authority, financial management. Kendra's voice was bright, too bright. "It's just temporary, for your safety, until you're better." My mouth went dry. "I'm not signing away my rights because I have a heart condition." "It's not about rights," Cole said. "It's about keeping you safe from yourself." Patrice finally spoke. Her voice quiet, but cutting. "If you don't sign, Brenna, Cole will have to take steps to protect himself. You understand that, don't you?" Cole followed me out to the driveway when I left. His voice was different, cracking slightly, vulnerable. I'm scared, Brenna. I didn't mean it to sound threatening. I don't know how to help you. For a heartbeat, I almost believed he was human again, almost softened. Then he added, but you have to understand, this diagnosis affects me too. My life, my career, my reputation. Me too. Like my body failing was primarily inconvenient for him. I looked at him clearly for the first time in years. Saw the real fear underneath everything. Not fear of losing me, fear of losing control of the story he'd been telling. About his capable wife, his manageable life. His perfect image. I'm going home, I said. When I got to my house, our house, my key turned halfway and stopped. The lock wouldn't open. Cole appeared in the doorway. That calm expression people wear when they've already decided you're the problem. You shouldn't be alone right now. You're not thinking clearly. I stepped back. My hands were shaking. Not from my heart condition, from rage. I called Nolan, my coworker, the one person at work who'd never treated me like a problem to be solved. He arrived 20 minutes later and saw the situation in one glance. The locked door. Cole blocking the entrance. Me standing on my own lawn like a trespasser. What's happening here? Nolan asked. Family matter, Cole said. Brenna's not well. We're taking care of her. Nolan looked at me. Brenna, what do you want? I want in my own house. Nolan pulled out his phone. Should I call the police? Because this looks like someone being locked out of their own home. Cole's expression changed. Uncertainty creeping in. After a tense moment, he unlocked the door and stepped aside. Nolan didn't leave until I was inside. Until I'd locked the door from the inside. He said quietly before he left, Brenna, this isn't about your health anymore. This is about leverage. The next morning, I met with a patient advocate at the hospital and a workplace accommodations consultant I'd found through my insurance. I brought my evidence folder. Everything documented like a compliance report. The patient advocate looked at the portal access logs and went very still. This is a serious breach. Unauthorized access to medical records. The workplace consultant read Cole's email to Marcy. This is interference with employment, possibly defamation. I filed a formal complaint with the clinic about the unauthorized account activity, about Dr. Markham's initial dismissal that had delayed my diagnosis. I notified HR with documentation, facts only. No emotions that could be used against me. No drama, no accusations that couldn't be proven with timestamps and screenshots. HR replied the same day, we are opening an investigation into allegations of external influence on employment decisions. The clinic's patient relations department called me directly. We take unauthorized access very seriously. We're reviewing Dr. Markham's handling of your initial appointments as well. Everything was moving. Finally. Because I had proof. Cole's tone changed dramatically when he realized my silence hadn't been weakness. It had been strategy. My mother called crying. How could you do this to the family? You're tearing everyone apart. Kendra texted, please stop, you're ruining lives over nothing. Marcy scheduled a meeting, with legal present this time, with HR, with my documentation spread across the conference table. In that meeting, Cole's email became what it always was. A weapon. An attempt to interfere with my employment. The legal representative asked one question that cracked everything open. Why did Mr. Holloway have access to Miss Holloway's private medical communications? Cole stammered, tried to explain. But without my mother there to back him up, without the family chorus supporting his version, his excuses sounded hollow. Legal requested the clinic's full audit logs. Marcy's face went tight when she realized this wasn't about me being unreliable. This was about potential misconduct, liability, legal exposure for the company. I didn't win by destroying anyone. I won by stepping out of their reach. I moved into a small apartment near the hospital. Bright, quiet, mine. No one had keys but me. I kept my job with documented accommodations and a revised reporting structure away from Marcy, away from anyone Cole had contacted. Nolan checked in every day. Not because he pitied me, because he respected me. The clinic issued a formal note acknowledging the portal breach, reviewed Dr. Markham's approach to dismissing symptoms. My complaint became part of a policy update for how they handle patient concerns. Cole lost access to my life in the most painful way possible. Permanently. My mother and Kendra kept trying to re-enter with apologies that sounded like negotiations, like opening bids. I stopped answering their calls. Because the real victory wasn't loud or dramatic. It was peace. It was finally believing myself more than I believed their version of me. It was taking my medication every morning in my own space and knowing that no one could tell me I was imagining what my own body was experiencing. Weeks later, my phone rang. Unknown number. Brenna Holloway? This is the State Medical Board. We have some questions about Dr. Markham's patient files and complaint history. We need your statement for our investigation. I smiled, answered the call, and told them everything.